What's up, everybody? This is Jake from the Tree of Woe Show with our Vengeance review. It's October 23rd. The show just got over. Let's get to it. First match of the night was Air Boom versus Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger, or American Perfection, as I like to call him. I guess Dolph Ziggler gets that name as well because his tights were American flag-esque tonight. So, American Perfection, Perfect America, could be something. Let's go start from there and go with it. But this match was a great match to start off the show with. Quality, energetic match. Two teams going back and forth. A lot of spots. A lot of moves from Evan Bourne on Dolph Ziggler, which is great because Evan Bourne has this vast move set, and Dolph Ziggler is the #1 seller in the company, so it was going great. And then the way this ended was trouble and that was like a botch run-in type thing, like botch interference from Swagger, but not too much. And then American Trouble in Paradise by Kofi, followed by a tag, and then the Airborne, which is the shooting star moonsault or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. It's a little backflip thing he does, if you didn't know. And then 1, 2, 3, Air Boom retains. Match went for like 10-15 minutes, which was great. A lot of good action there. And then as Air Boom's celebrating, you hear Zack Ryder's music hit. And then the guy walks into the ring and says, "And the following is for the United States Championship." And then Zack Ryder comes out. And then Kofi and Evan Bourne move ringside. And then they start off the U.S. title match immediately afterwards, which was great. Just more and more action. It furthers the whole Zack Ryder has a chance to beat Dolph thing, and then Zack Ryder comes out, gangbusters, boom, 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 which is great as well. Get the tempo going, and then they go back and forth for a while. Well, for a little bit, Dolph tries to leave, and then Air Boom throws Dolph back in, and then the ref kicks Air Boom out of the side. Out of the off ring side, which whatever didn't really affect anything from there on. And then they go back and forth, and then Swagger tries to interfere while Vicky's over there, and then Ryder drop kicks him, turns around into a super kick from Dolph Ziggler. Amazing super kick, just boom, classic Shawn Michaels-esque. 1, 2, 3. Can't complain. Dolph retains. They can further this feud, which is going to be a great feud because this is how you get Zack Ryder over as the United States champion. Now, if they just bail this out and say, you know what, no, we're going to give it to Mason Ryan, I'd be kind of frustrated because this was a lot. Well, in comparison to, well, he hasn't defended the United States Championship for a while, but in comparison to the pre-Rhodes Intercontiential Championship era, where he always had Ezekiel Jackson in those matches, that match was a lot better. Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler was a great match. A lot of creative stuff in there too. A lot of big time whoa moments. So that was, if you were to go back and watch those first two segments, that would be the textbook way to start off pay per view. Because as I was jacked at that point, like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome, you know. And then cuts to backstage with CM Punk talking to Ted DiBiase in this week's edition of Why Are They Talking and What Are They Talking About? And then Triple H walks over, and then DiBiase walks away. I would have stayed there if I was DiBiase, just been in that conversation, just going like, yeah. And then they talk about how it's whole unsafe work environment, or it was. So they're gonna make it that for the Miz and R-Truth tonight. And it furthers along that, which is coming up later. How much later? You'll soon find out. And I mean that very literally because this was not the main event for tonight. Sorry for your first spoiler. I mean, you obviously probably read the results beforehand. I'll put the results in the bottom and then all that. And the next match was Beth versus Eve, and they showed this segment where Kelly Kelly was talking backstage, and then Beth and Natalya beat her up, and then Eve comes and saves her, and then Laurinaitis banned Natalya and Kelly Kelly from ringside, which didn't really do a whole lot because they didn't really do anything. And Justin King was reffing this match. Shout out to Justin King for reffing another great match. And this was probably one of the best Divas matches I've seen in a while, because Eve was doing her little flip stuff, and Beth Phoenix was doing all her moves. And for the 7 minutes that went on, yes, I timed it. It was 7 minutes. Very solid. So how the match ended was like a minute segment where Beth had her up in the GlamSlam, and then Eve reversed it, threw Beth against the ropes. Beth came back into a roll-up, and if it was Kelly, her roll-ups are better, so that would have been a 3 count. But not for Eve, because I guess when you're smaller, your roll-up pins are better. Whatever. That's just a knock on the whole idea of Kelly as a champion for that long. And then Eve goes at the moonsault, no dice, GlamSlam, 1, 2, 3. I guess when she went for the moonsault, I think Eve caught her up. I mean, Beth caught her up there. I don't know. This was like 2 hours ago. Maybe caught her up there and pressed or something, or I think it was something like that, because it was one of those moments where she held her up there, where Beth held Eve up like this, and then GlamSlam, 1, 2, 3, and then after the match, Beth sat there and like rubbed Eve's face. It's really weird, like doing this whole thing on Eve and like rub her hand through her hair, like really awkwardly. I guess I don't really know how to describe it, but I'll just go like this for a while, except this is on somebody else. This is Beth Phoenix's hand doing this. Did that for a while she was on the ground, and Jessica was like, "What are you doing?" I have no idea. Instead of making her cry, she rubbed her face. We'll find out more on Monday. I'm somewhat intrigued, though. I'm more intrigued about this than I have been for the Divas thing for a while, so props to them for that. Cuts backstage to the Big Show. Big Show says the same promo he said since he came back, how he was gone for 4 months. And he's going to take everything away from Mark Henry. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Let's move on from that to the next match of the night, which was Christian versus Sheamus in a match of the heel has more face heat than more face cheers than the actual face. The crowd was chanting, "Let's go Christian" at a couple points in the match. I'm not a part of this movement for Sheamus. I'm not a big fan of Sheamus. I'm not going to shy away from that. I just think you have all this talent there, and that's who you're going with as your next super face. He's John Cena with 2 finishers, let's put it that way. He kicked out of the spear again, which I guess furthers it along, but every single time he kicks out of the spear, I just get super mad. It's just, how come this, it's just frustrating that they just devalued Christian that much in the process of trying to make Sheamus look awesome, but it doesn't really work that well. And then Sheamus hit the Brogue kick for the win. He hinted at the Celtic Cross for a while, but yeah, Brogue kick, 1, 2, 3. Nobody really, not a whole lot of cheers. Just saying, there was no Sheamus chants. There was more, "Let's go Christian," was chanted I think twice. So maybe they need to reevaluate what they're going to do with the Sheamus push. Maybe this was a lame crowd. I thought the crowd was good until, well, the middle, which is coming up right. Yeah, now, after this match, the show goes downhill for a little while. But keep watching because the end is awesome. But they go to Miz and Truth backstage, talking to Laurinaitis, and Laurinaitis basically just says, "I brought you guys back because you guys are great suck-ups." And then they said, "You guys both suck up well." And then they kind of go back and forth on who sucks up better or more well. And then they talked about how other people suck. And it was quite entertaining. Quite a good heel promo. And they talked crap on Texas, which is the only way you're going to get these 2 guys heat, is to talk crap on wherever they're at. Because the only way they get heat is by beating up super faces and talking bad about where they're at. Which, let's be honest, that's how you're going to get these 2 guys who are pretty much, everyone loves The Miz, and people are cool with R-Truth, so that's how you're going to get them their heel heat, is by doing all that. And then they show a little vignette. Best part of the promo, though, is they said that Triple H was a sucker, like Booker T, and they heard Booker T just dying in the background. Another thing you probably, that's one of the things you probably should watch is, so far, you should watch the opening segment, and then skip the Divas, skip the Christian match, watch that backstage promo, and then don't watch this upcoming tag match. It was frustrating. It was frustrating because there was like the whole. It was like a Raw. You know, at the end of Raw, how they have those tag matches where it's like, oh, they're gonna lose, but at the same time, you know they're not going to. That's how it was. That's what it was like. Triple H took a lot of, oh, I'm so hurt things, and then tagged in Punk, and then Punk was doing work, and then somehow, long story short, R-Truth and Triple H are over by the bell, and then all of a sudden you hear, whoa, and Kevin Nash had hopped over the barrier, and he's beating up on Triple H, which allows R-Truth to come in there and disrupt the GTS attempt by CM Punk, and then they double team him, 1, 2, 3. Awesome Truth wins, and then Kevin Nash drags Triple H into the ring because every segment has to end with Triple H, and he gets Jacknife Powerbomb, and they show it 18 times, and they try to convince us that Triple H is genuinely hurt from it. He may be, he may not be. I'm not going to say that he's not because that's kind of distasteful if he is, but it looked pretty bad. But at the same time, that's what you get for bringing back Kevin Nash to Jacknife Powerbombs is you assume that risk. It's kind of ironic to talk about the whole unsafe work environment. They bring back Kevin Nash to do Jacknife Powerbombs. But alas, that it did what it had to do. I talked to Jess about it because he was an hour behind, I guess, on this pay-per-view because he was watching it via Designate or something like that. He's just like, yeah, I called that match perfectly in our preview, which he did. Give him props for that. And I didn't look through the preview to see who else was on the same page, but a lot of people were. And this kind of builds towards SummerSlam, Survivor Series. So, yeah. And then it cuts to Laurinaitis and Del Rio backstage talking about something. And it cuts to the next match, was my least favorite match of the night. Take a deep breath in my notes because I don't want to get caught up in this again. This match was, I didn't like it. I'll just put it out there. If you're trying to make Rhodes it's Rhodes versus Orton. So obviously Justin's not here to protect Randy Orton. So I'm just gonna go at it right now. I know he doesn't write what's gonna happen and all that stuff, but a lot of stuff he didn't sell super great. He sold some stuff good. He didn't sell some other stuff too great. But if whoever's in charge of keeping him up here and keeping everyone else below him, this was the perfect time to I'm so frustrated now I can't even think. To put over Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had him in the crossroads, ready to put him over. Ready to hit him with the crossroads. Hits it. 1, 2, kick out. I said, okay, maybe they're building something up here. So Rhodes turns around and gets ready to do the whole RKO. He does the whole pound the mat like Randy Orton thing. Pops up, goes RKO and pushed off. Not happening. You don't RKO Randy Orton. You probably should have just punted him, let's be honest. But whatever. And then Bagger comes in there to help. And then Orton hits one, and the Bagger goes in the other one. Orton throws Rhodes into the other one. Rhodes just like, oh, no. Turns around, RKO, 1, 2, 3. And your new Intercontiential Champion is not Randy Orton because this wasn't for the belt. Because they wanted to do this, because they want to keep Rhodes up there, Orton up there, as a just as like a backup plan in case Mark Henry falls apart. And that was my thoughts on that match. I kept a lot more composed than I thought I was going to, so thank me for that. Because when it happened, I was fuming. But alas, moved on from that to a promo of The Rock coming back for Survivor Series. You can call it SummerSlam. Probably because SummerSlam was, whatever. And then match of the night, maybe a lot better than what everyone's expecting. I was talking to my friend Joey when this is going on. I was sending him a text back and forth, and he's just like, "Oh, this match is going to be horrible." I'm just like, "Well, it could be good," and it actually was. And this match did exactly what it needed to do to continue this Mark Henry push and align the stars for him to carry it as a dominant heel to WrestleMania. So, nobody won this match per se. They both won from a standpoint of them looking like monsters again, which is what they should look like. Mark Henry kicked out of 2 choke slams. He kicked out of a normal choke slam and kicked out of a choke slam off the top rope, which was dope. Big Show kicked out of a World's Strongest Slam, and this was after a lot of going back and forth, so it wasn't just like they went choke slam and all that stuff. But they went back and forth a lot, and Mark Henry was very strategic in attacking the knee, which was great psychology, which is something he doesn't get any credit for. And then this match ends the same way that Big Show versus Brock Lesnar ended in 04, 05, whatever it was, with the superplex off the second rope, with Mark Henry superplexing the Big Show and the ring collapsing. The ring literally collapsed the same way it did back then, with the far right corner giving out and the turnbuckle falling down and all that. And then the left turnbuckle was askew and the ring was slanted like this. And then they got Big Show carted off and they tried to carry out Mark Henry, and he ended up fighting off to walk away, make it look like he is the more dominant person, but making Big Show not look like a slouch, because Big Show kicked out the World's Strongest Slam and all that. And I marked out when it happened. You know, it's one of those things where even though it's happened before, you're still going to freak out every time you see it. This was another match. If you haven't watched pay-per-view, to try to watch was this one, because for 2 big men, it was a lot better than a lot of people were expecting, myself included. I thought it was going to be decent. It was above decent. And then John Laurinaitis comes out and says, "We're still having the main event. We're still having the WWE Championship defended right now in this ring." So Cena Del Rio was still going to happen, which at the time I'm just like, yeah, of course, you know. But that really set it up to where when that ring was like that, it really set it up for Last Man Standing and having to be more resourceful. Because they went straight to that match, and then Del Rio and Cena both come out. Cena comes out wearing this new T-shirt that says "Rise Above Hate," which is the coolest T-shirt. I still wouldn't wear it, but it was still pretty cool. And then, so they're in this Buster's ring, and they're doing a lot of their moves in there still, because they have, you know, because that's where you do a lot of the move, because they're your 2 top guys. Kind of, I mean, Cena's your top guy, and with how they had Del Rio in this match, he is one of their top guys. Del Rio in this match was made to look like the actual WWE champion. He was standing up after attitude adjustments, and they moved out of the ring to backstage, and then backstage he suplexed Cena onto some. Oh, Cena tried to throw some big ass like crate looking thing, like a moving crate. I'm not really sure how to describe it, and I can't draw it out well enough, nor do I have the time. Cena tried to throw it on there. He got out of it. Del Rio got out of the way, and then suplexed Cena onto there. And Cena got the whole 8 thing, and then they go to the backstage area where they film all the backstage interviews, and then Del Rio threw 4 big ass sheets of whatever's behind there onto him, like this big metal things, and then Cena got up out of that. Which at the time it's just like, wow, he's getting out of that, but at the same time that's their Superman character, so of course he's gonna get out of it. And then Del Rio throws him through the V at Vengeance on the way out, because the V was outwards. That was their big prop set thing. Really, their set was decent, but he threw him through the side of the V, which may or may not have been out of paper mache. Who knows? Who cares? It was still kind of cool. And then goes to put him through a table, because I guess since he was on the ground, they didn't count it as a Last Man Standing. Which, if you look back to the time there, Edge beat Cena in the Last Man Standing match, and Big Show chokeslammed Cena through like a spotlight or something like that. They counted it then, but whatever, I'm not going to nitpick. He probably would have got out at 9 anyway. And then Del Rio he puts Cena on top of a table and climbs up like a little scaffolding area, about 10 feet up, goes to come down, and then Cena comes off and power slams him through. Del Rio gets up at 9, and then they go through the entire area, and then they go to the whole outside the ring stuff, and then Cena attitude adjustments him off of the steel steps through the announce table, and then The Miz and R-Truth come out, and they start beating up Cena, so the ref's not counting, which is the way they can go like a Cena wins and continue this and all that. And they said, "Oh, Del Rio was down for 15, player." That's what Booker T was saying. And then The Miz and R-Truth both hit their finishers on Cena, and then by that point Del Rio is up, and then Cena loses by 10 count out. I mean, he loses by the whole 10. No, side note, he doesn't. He gets up at 9 again. I keep forgetting. But yeah, and then Del Rio grabs the belt, smashed him in the face with the belt, and that was the one that caused the 10 count. Del Rio walks away, and then it was overall, I was expecting not a whole lot from this match. I was expecting a lot of Super Cena and them to kind of devalue Del Rio, but they did the opposite. Well, Cena still lost and was still Superman, but they did it in a different environment that made it feel somewhat special, you know? They made it feel like it wasn't just vengeance. It was like, because the ring was broken and they went backstage, it felt more like, not authentic or real, but it felt more unique. And then, yep, that was it. If you saw it, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, which is right up here. Likes down here. Subscribe. And Justin will be back for SmackDown, I think. Maybe Raw. Not really sure with his flight schedule. He's in Detroit right now. And then like, comment, subscribe. Send us please comment though. I want to see what you guys thought on this, because obviously if I'm way out of line and calling Mark Henry and the Big Show a very good match or above average match, call me out on that, because I want to know. I want to hear you guys' opinion on this, because that's as important to me as my own opinion is, because one person's not going to be able to change anything, but if we're all simultaneously hating Randy Orton, maybe they'll see, maybe they'll do something. Alright, well, this is going to be another 22 minutes. See ya.